Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Midas Letter RAW, live from the Exchange Tower. I'm here with Ed Milewski. Welcome, Ed.
Mark, how you doing?
Doing great. Doing
Thursday.
really well.
It's Thursday. Thursday.
Where does the week go?
Where does it all go?
I don't know, Ed. I don't know. So what's going on today? We've got a good show. Great show? Would you say great?
You know what? We're going to find out, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we got some good. I had a nice interview with a gentleman. Looks like he's got a discovery of a porphyry.
Did you say porphyry?
Porphyry, yeah.
Okay.
It's a geological term.
Okay.
Type of ore body, and it's usually a multiple element, like there's gold, silver, copper, molybdenum in this porphyry. We'll talk. We'll see the interview later. And you had a good interview.
Yeah, Robert Galarza,
and
with
he's
TruTrace.
TruTrace. I know. I've got a buddy in London who's I consider to be a very smart guy. He's a prominent real estate guy, and he was telling me about this about a month ago, and I just confirmed that he owns a bunch of stock, and he thinks it's a steal here.
Yeah, let's just pull up what's on the show today, and we'll run through it.
Sure.
We've got our lovely new news girl, Laura McCallum, will be doing the news. TruTrace, like we mentioned, Robert Galarza, great interview, and Goliath Resources, which is Roger, who you're talking to.
Yeah, I've known Roger for some time. Want to also mention, apparently Draghi, the guy that runs the economic, the European...
Draghi?
I think his name is Dragi is his last name, and his term is running out as the head, and he said today that they're gonna continue their quantitative easing program, which makes the U.S. dollar strong, and Trump's nuts about we're letting our dollar get stronger here. We really don't want that. We want a weaker dollar, and so he's urging the Fed to cut rates. But on that thing, gold was up $25 this morning. Now it's only up a couple bucks now, but you can see that when these political people start saying things, and it makes the trading guys.
$25.
It was a $25 move right on the open. Yeah, I was watching it this morning. It was only up a couple bucks. The next thing you know, it just flew.
How long did that last?
We're going to put up a chart later. We get to that. We'll put up a chart. You can see the action. Okay.
Okay. Why don't we take a look at the news?
All right.
So
you want to say, okay, instead of going to the news, let's talk for a while.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Well,
Wait, but now the news?
Now the news?
Here's what's making cannabis headlines this Thursday, September 12th, 2019. Aurora Cannabis announced its financial and operational results for the fourth quarter and fiscal year ended June 30th, 2019. Net revenue for the quarter and for the year was $98.9 million and $247.9 million, respectively. Net loss for the quarter was $2.3 million, and net loss for the year was $297.9 million, or 29 cents per share. Cash and cash equivalents at year-end were $172.73 million. Valens Growworks has entered into an arm's-length binding 5-year white-label cannabis-infused beverage contract with the cannabis division of Iconic Brewing. Iconic will brand and market the final product across Canada. Under the terms of the agreement, a minimum of 2.5 million cannabis-infused beverages will be produced over 5 years, with the opportunity to expand on the partnership with new product offerings in the near future. 48 North Cannabis has secured 1 billion milligrams of active CBD oil from Iverson Family Farms based in Willamette Valley, Oregon, through an industrial hemp product contract. Iverson will harvest industrial hemp on 33 acres of land in 2019 for 48 North for the purposes of providing the company with high-quality active CBD oil. Bang Inc. has signed a licensing agreement with Cannavitive Group to make and distribute Bang's THC-infused chocolates through Cannavitive's dispensary channels in Nevada. The 5-year agreement with Cannavitive is automatically renewable and provides the company use of Bang's intellectual property, including its consumable ingredients and packaging supplies, for which Cannavitive will pay a percentage of its gross sales. Choom Holdings announced that an Alberta provincially approved cannabis retail licensee is opening a cannabis retail store in Drumheller, Alberta, operating under the Choom brand. Choom has also entered in a purchase agreement with the licensee to acquire the Brooks store. Namaste Technology has signed a distribution and marketing agreement with Cultivated Beauty, a subsidiary of skincare retailer Swiss Farm and Elizabeth Grant International. Namaste will offer its hemp-based skincare products through Canmark's online marketplace. Next Green Wave Holdings has partnered with No Jumper brand and host Adam22 to roll out its latest premium exotic flower strains. The products will feature on a monthly basis through No Jumper's podcast with 45 million viewers per stream and Next Green Wave's brand house SDC. The flower will also be available at leading Los Angeles and San Diego dispensaries, including March and Ash within 2 weeks. Body and Mind announced that Satellite Dip's Cathedral City, California facility has begun shipments on BAM's products in the state of California. The products are manufactured by SD, pursuant to a license agreement between BAM's wholly owned subsidiary, Nevada Medical Group. This follows after the Cathedral City facility received final testing and California packaging compliance certifications for BAM's products. And that's your news for today. To keep up to date on all things cannabis, visit the Cannabis Daily on MidasLetter.com.
Okay, lots going on.
You know, we're up 19 points in the S&P today.
Yeah.
We're pushing 3017, and why that's significant is because the all-time high, the all-time print, which happened roughly, let's say 3-4 months ago, I believe, was 3029.50. Looks like that happened just before the end of August, or at the beginning of, sort of the end of July. Anyway, if you put up a chart here, what
are we gonna look at?
This is the S&P.
Okay, there's the.
And then I'm going to, and we talked about this with the charting Dan, the man, the charting man, and. Look, we broke that level he talked about. And once we broke that, he said, you know what? Until the bears can show me the muscle. So look at today. We're up into this range here, 3017. The all-time high was right there. Okay, that was back in July. We're virtually 12, 13 points from the all-time, never been higher S&P. And when you think about, I always say, when you think about all the shit that's going on in the world, you'd say, is that right? Is that possible in this environment where, you know, rates are...
Clearly it is.
Exactly.
Well, it's entered a new box, right? So if you're following Dan's advice...
You stay long.
Yeah.
Like because that's what this said. And again, it looked like it was trying to top it. It's grinding higher.
Right.
Okay, so let's take a look at when Draghi made those comments about quantitative easing in Europe again, in the European Union.
Right.
This made gold go crazy. So I'm going to show you a chart of gold.
Okay.
And then we'll talk.
While you're doing that, I've got the YouTube chat room open.
Yeah.
And let's see who's here. Zippity Doodah is here. Mary Kemp, Nika Domi, Rav Singh. All our usuals, a couple new faces. Great to have everyone here. And we're pretty close to our milestone. We're at around 19,976 subscribers. So 20,000 is our goal. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the YouTube subscribe and the bell so you get notified.
So what's our goal going to be after the 20?
Probably double it. But as soon as we get to that 20, we'll pop some champagne maybe.
So let's do that. But let's get this gold chart up here.
Okay, let's see it.
And this is the ETF, which tracks gold dollar for dollar, basically.
Right.
And I want to just look at this was the peak here, 7 days ago. Okay, that was the peak, slightly through the Bollinger Band, but then a big drop, and then Draghi made these comments, and he's about to end his term as the head of the economic union there, and the European economic whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Look at the move. So gold was up $25. Now it's come all the way back, okay, which is kind of negative. However, if you look at this is now sort of turned like that. But I'll clear that up here, and we'll look at a shorter term, which I think is.
What do you have on there now?
That was a 3 month. That was a 3 month. Now you can see here. Gold's had a precipitous decline over the last 6-7 trading days from that level. And look at it, down in here, but now look at this gap here today. We were way up in here, way up there, and that was through the Bollinger Band, which means a short-term overbought condition. Right. And we've now come back, we filled this gap, okay, which a technical guy wants to see, and now we're flattening out again. This is a severe drop. It's trying to go up, but there's been a lot of damage done psychologically and technically. It's going to take a while. But I mean, like if you're short gold, thinking gold was going to keep, you might have panicked and covered on the open because it went up so much.
What's the psychological damage? What are you talking about?
For instance, if you were bullish on gold,
yeah, and
it looked like we've had a run here, we've had a serious drop. That sort of plays with the psyche of the bulls. But I say so. But it's also if it's bad for the bulls, it's good for the bears, right?
Right.
It's a two-way street. And if it's a flat situation, flat lining, bulls are not happy. The bears are not happy.
No one's interested in that flat line.
It's interesting to see though. I just, again, when I look at the longer term chart, it looks like it's pointing. We've had a correction. Now we're trying to maybe find a bottom. We'll see. It's over 1,500. I think it's around 1,506 or 1,507. So 1,500, I think, is an important psychological barrier, but not necessarily the be all and end all. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Now you said earlier the Midas Letter indices were all down.
Yeah, we're looking at a lot of red today.
Really?
Yeah. And actually, if you want, I can't pull it up. If you can pull it up, we can take a look.
Okay.
But yeah, it's all red showing up.
I'm going to take a look here right now. Let's see. So we've got the big index is down, 3.65%. That's a big drop. The small one is down 3.5%. One of the small cap cannabis is down 3.5%. Yeah. Well, let's do that.
Yeah, click in on one of those.
Okay. Weed down 72 cents, down 2%. Aurora, look at this. Aurora's down 71 cents today, down 8%. Now, I unfortunately, I've been sort of preoccupied with a couple of things. I haven't seen any news on Aurora, but I look at that. Something obviously happened today to encourage the sellers to lighten up.
Right.
And we go Kronos. I'm going to take a look at Kronos here. Yeah, we're going to keep coming back to these marijuana throughout the show. So if you've got any specific ones you want me to look at, but for some reason it looks as though there's been some selling across the board in the marijuana space. And remember, is that right? Oh, is God talking?
Are you hearing voices?
I'm hearing voices. I want to make the point that I find this interesting in light of the fact that the S&P is having a pretty stellar day. So the big markets in the States are having a stellar day. Marijuana stocks aren't participating.
You know, Aurora missed their revenue guidance. That's what happened.
That would do it. And you see, before it was legalization, there was all this insanity. I shouldn't say insanity, but speculation.
Reefer madness.
Reefer madness. But there was no yardsticks. You couldn't look at financials because there was no business until it became legal. Now that it's become legal, now they're coming out with numbers. People that buy these things, they look at numbers.
Right.
I mean, if there's no numbers, what have you really got? If there's no revenue, what have you really got? Well, we know we're going to go legal. So let's take a look at the chart of Aurora here, okay?
Okay.
While we're hot. And I'm going to just put this out over here, and I'm going to get rid of that. And did they actually come out with numbers today? Or did they just said that they said they're not going to meet their... Okay.
Yeah, they came out with numbers today.
Yeah, down 70. Yeah, well, there you go. So look, let's put up a 6-month chart first.
Okay.
And yeah, well, look, we had this nice move from down in here. So we moved from about the low $7 range. Yeah, so they lost money, cash crop at 172 million. Still lots of cash, but I mean, look, this thing was going through that Bollinger Band, which I find something to be mindful of. When I see things going through these bands, I get thinking it's ready for correction. Sure enough, look at. Although the candle today is a bit of a doji candle, okay, so long tail, long wick, short body. I would be surprised if we had a bounce back, but clearly not a good day for the sector. You think we should go to your meeting with?
Yeah, we can go to TruTrace.
Yeah, let's. Yeah, I want to hear that.
Okay. Yeah. So, do you know much about TruTrace?
I know a few people, friends of mine, have owned the stock. They really like it. They think they got something here that's really special.
Well, we had a really good conversation, and why don't we? It's blockchain technology. You know that?
Yeah, you were saying.
Yeah, Robert's going to tell us some more. Welcome back. On the show today, I have Robert Galarza, CEO of TruTrace Technologies. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So some big news.
Yeah, it's been a busy year.
Yeah.
need to say the least. It's been a while since I've been in here, and a lot has happened since then.
So what's on my mind is Shoppers. You just struck a deal for a second phase. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we got introduced to the guys at Shoppers Drug Mart about a little over a year ago actually. And amazingly enough, when you kind of look at the cannabis space when Shoppers came to the forefront, the biggest pharmacy in Canada, definitely the biggest company in terms of market cap and active, profits month over month, year over year, 50-year history. To get in the cannabis space was pretty amazing, right? What really blew us away was their knowledge. They had really been active in this space for 6 years, and we've been inactive for 8 years, so we're all old men in the cannabis world.
Yeah.
And when we really dug under the hood of some of the problems they were running into, our solution in terms of what we were looking to do around really granular asset product management and data around the things that they usually get when it comes to medicine is scan a DIN and they get everything. And that's the crazy thing too, pharmacists even in the medical space, they're the most knowledgeable folks in the health industry overall, more than doctors, about medicines themselves. So they really looked at this industry and were like, we need a really detailed level of granularity, and we need better visibility of what our suppliers are up to, and really get some clarity on these medications. And that was really exciting for us because, obviously working with a big company like that's amazing, but also it's about really expanding the medical market, which is what our objective is overall.
Well, let's take a step back. Not everyone knows about your company, TruTrace. You're a SaaS company and built on blockchain. Can you talk a little bit about your platform?
Yeah, so when we first built the solution, it was all about how can we take and aggregate the detailed data, motion and movement data, supply chain information, on the cannabis products, right? And blockchain obviously got really exciting. Our first name was actually Blockstream originally. We got that excited about it back in 2017 when we first started the company. We really fell in love with the kind of the hyperledger type fabrics, the trusted solutions, et cetera. Didn't really fall into the ICO tokenization side of things. I used to be a lawyer, so I was always scared of like securities fraud type stuff. I was like,
Makes sense.
It kind of freaked me out. But what we did know was incredible data management, security, robust solution, decentralization on when you've got a lot of information coming in. And once we start actually tracking individual data on every single product, that data becomes very, very expansive. So that's where we used to implement kind of the backbone of blockchain into what we have from an inventory and a testing, we'll call it as a smart hub solution that lives in the middle between the suppliers and the labs and the distributors and the regulatory bodies and anybody else who needs the information.
Well, it makes sense to me. It sounds like you also have a partnership now with Deloitte. Can you talk about that relationship?
Yeah, so not a lot of people know this, right? Deloitte is, they see the big name.
Well, that's why you're here.
Yeah, see the big name, and they're one of the big four, and Deloitte is definitely, I would say, from one of the big consulting companies globally. They're, again, leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else in terms of comprehension and understanding in the cannabis space. Again, the work we started doing, they're coming in and helping oversee some project management on phase 2, because we're still a tech company, right? There's only so much we can handle, and once you start onboarding, a number of participants and stakeholders, and managing these projects, the managed services aspect of their business is really a big thing that we were excited about on the Shoppers Initiative. And then beyond that, we saw just a mutual partnership that worked, and so we're now taking this globally. We're taking it, and obviously not right away, but what it allows us to do is get in the rooms that we need to be getting into
a lot faster.
A lot faster.
And the relationships are already there.
Exactly, and leveraging the platform for being able to really resolve the use case, which again, the issue Deloitte deals with as a forensics organization and risk management is how are we actually letting this industry get structured if the data on the inventory, as we've seen recently with a lot of recent news, if there's issues there, we need some better clarity. And if we can focus on the asset side and then focus on the individual side, then hopefully we can let the entire industry have more information for being able to get this thing not just stabilized but really grow it. That's really our overall objective.
Terrific. So it sounds like the platform you started in 2017, is that right?
Yeah, so this company, we've been in the space for about 8 years, my partner and I, all the way down in California in the wild rodeo that it is still. I still live in Los Angeles, so it's still crazy down there. We came to Canada in 2015, really focusing on the inventory, smart hub, solution around really being able to manage granular data on the assets. The problem we ran into was the most important information, which was what is the product, right? And that's what led into what became Blockstream initially, and now is TruTrace Technologies, is the focusing on that identification data point in the very beginning and the entry point. And then once we have validated product data, it opens up us the ability to work, with a number of companies and partners and be a part of an ecosystem, which is really cool.
Well, I was taking a look at your website. It looks like you guys have a really slick dashboard. What are the upside opportunities for your business? I know we were talking a little bit about medical globally.
Yeah, so the biggest thing we focused on is we really pull back you start to get into this industry, you really start to understand, a lot of people forget this is a federally banned narcotic, right? This in the US. This is a limited and restricted narcotic around the world. So global expansion really is going to need to focus medically, right? And medicine, the medical industry at large doesn't really look at cannabis as a medicine today. So we're seeing a huge divide between practitioners and their comfort level for prescribing cannabis. And we work with some of the top cannabis doctors and are really starting to really work with some of the large hospital institutions, and everybody has the desire, because 9 out of 10 patients going into pain clinics are asking about cannabis as something for their use. But it's not just about hey, identifying it for what's going to work, but it's also making sure that there's no counterindications on their other medications, right? So that's where the kind of pharmaceutical or big pharmacy strategy and Shoppers comes in and goes, yeah, sorry guys, we need way more information on this before we are going to be really comfortable with the industry. And hopefully our work with our production partners, and we just announced Tilray yesterday and Afria last week and WeedMD and all those guys who've been amazing. Every single one of them have really stepped up to the plate and said, yeah, this is important to us. What we can do is open up the medical market further, which in a lot of cases we think globally will hopefully help proliferate this industry further.
And what is secure strain? Can you talk a little bit about that name and what that means?
When you're a technology company, you're always building products, right?
Yeah.
So when we first started the company, we named the company Blockstrain. We named the platform Blockstrain. We're not very creative, but we, when we started to make the transition and realized that we wanted to expand beyond, we knew that there were opportunities outside of cannabis that we wanted to be able to take advantage of in the future, right? So, but the core platform that runs and operates today was built for the cannabis industry. It's original code, line 1 out, as my partner always likes to say. He's like, I wrote very first 0 and 1. The reality of the situation is that when we focus on cannabis, strain security is the key. So strain secure became the natural name that we wanted to go with, and that's what we're deploying now.
And what is it, from genome to?
Genome to sale. So, the terminology seed to sale is always what we, is thrown around, but we all know that you don't actually do seed to sale in cannabis. It's clone-based propagation, right? So because you're doing clone-based propagation, that leads down to, how do you know it's the same product?
Right.
No matter what, the chemistry may change because of all kinds of epigenetics and environmental conditions and other things, but the genetics won't. So as long as we're making this consistent product, and if the product's changing, no problem, the patients can be informed, the doctors can be informed, but they know that it's legal, it's consistent, and then for the cultivators and the breeders, it allows them to, if their plants are changing over time, they can kind of start to understand why, have a little bit more information on their own, internal operations.
And are you one of a number of companies doing this, or where do you stand in the solution?
Yeah, right now, I think we're out front.
Okay.
It's always nice to say that. I do know there's a couple companies that we've started to see. You start to see decks.
Playing catch up.
You start to get partners of ours will start to send us, proposals that have our logo or former logo.
Really?
As competitors. Yeah. So, but
Wild West.
It's good. Competitive
Yeah.
drives you, right? It drives innovation. It gets you out. It makes you perform at a higher level. The other thing that we've seen is even some of the companies that would be kind of deemed as initially competitors, we've had some nice conversations with about, hey, look, this isn't competitive because maybe we're more collaborative, right? And so then you look at the synergistic opportunities of integrating technology, because that's the one thing that we've seen is we've got to build an ecosystem that works collectively amongst them all. There's not going to be one, company that's going to, it doesn't work like that in any industry. Like Microsoft's big, but so is IBM, and so is Google, and these big companies still have to work and operate with one another. I remember when we used to all have Macintosh and they wouldn't talk to the Microsoft Windows and all that. So it just goes to show that in business you've got to have the ability to play nicely with everyone, and that's really where we kind of live and breathe and the way we like to operate.
Well, it sounds like you guys are doing some really great things, and you have a solution to a problem that I think is going to help a lot of people.
I really appreciate it.
Thanks for your time, Robert. Really appreciate it.
Thank you as well.
Let's talk about Aurora. Recently, your financials, you've more or less delivered on
Here are the headlines moving markets today.
If you're lucky to buy it 3 days ago at 37 cents,
and I think it has a lot to do with some of these smaller names giving really...
Recreational cannabis is here. It's quite dry. So I'm going to eliminate the stocky bits.
So TruTrace has a solution for accountability and traceability for medical specifically.
Right.
What do you think?
Well, look, I'm a chart guy, so I got the chart up here, a 6-month chart.
Let's look at the chart.
It's 6-month chart.
Not a lot of time.
Well, you know what though? I'll tell you one thing about it. When something gets listed like this initially, there's a lot of flurry, right? Because never been traded before, so there's a lot of buyers. There's some sellers.
Everyone's speculating.
You know what? You don't know what's going to happen really. But look, so we had a big move. But, the thing opened. I can't remember where it went public at. I should have taken a look, but it corrected, rallied back, and now it's settled. And the Bollinger Bands are flattening out. So it's basing, and if they start to deliver and to start to, they've got some great relationships, obviously, right?
Right.
So these things start to be converted into money. They can, quantify what they're doing, and revenues start coming in, and they start becoming maybe the sort of the go-to company in this field. You know, it's when a company bases like this. Look,
well,
if it breaks out of that pattern, that's a buy signal.
Listen to some of these licensed producers participating in the pilot. WeedMD, FlowerRx, Afria, Aurora, Tilray, MedRelief, Zenabis, Emblem, and there's a few more on here.
Wow.
So they're very well connected.
And this relationship with
Shoppers?
the Deloitte.
That's huge.
Well, listen, I worked with TruTrace. That's where I got my degree in accounting, long before you were born.
Yeah.
You know, it's a behemoth in the industry.
It's a seat at the table in almost every company you want to be at.
That is very significant. So, people look at this one, and again, you'd probably
something like blockchain. You're also looking at could be an industry standard down the road. Right. Because if you're a leader in this space, if it's traceability and accountability, it's not something that it's really something you can swap out very easily and move to another company doing it. So I think the relationship with Shoppers, this is going to be a kind of a roadmap for what other companies might be doing in the future. They have the relationships. They got the partnership with Deloitte. I like him.
This guy's well spoken.
Yeah.
He presents well.
They're based in LA.
Yeah, that's probably a good place to be.
Yeah.
He looks like he comes from LA.
Yeah.
Should be in movies.
Yeah, take him right off the set of a soap opera there.
Stand in for George Clooney.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so that's good. Now maybe we should look at a few more of some of these marijuana stocks, because it looks like maybe this Aurora. I mean, this is not good for the industry. If people aren't meeting their guidance,
right?
What does anybody really have a handle on what's going on in the industry? I mean, the big companies should be figuring out, is our sales growing? Are they, whatever. So we looked at ACB.
Yeah.
I want to look at Kronos, because Kronos is another one of these big ones, and they've got lots of cash. Let's take a look here. Okay, 15. Yeah, Kronos. I mean, it's been a top left to bottom right kind of trend. It's certainly over the last 3 months. 1 year chart.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's trying here. Oh, just a minute.
This is Kronos?
Yeah, this is Kronos. So there's a bit of a base building going on here. It was over $30 in here. Look at this. So it's been cut in half, and they've got a couple of $1 billion, I think, kicking around from their transaction with.
A couple of $1 billion kicking around.
They got a lot of cash. Yeah, they did a major deal with the cigarette company.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
Got a lot of money, those cigarette companies.
Yeah, we haven't looked at this company in a while. And you mentioned, somebody asked about Juju.
Juju, yeah.
And we had the gentleman on the show a few tims.
Our chat room.
And I'm gonna put Juju up here, but it doesn't look good. I got to be honest.
Carol F mentioned Juju. Did you say it was trading at 3 cents?
3 cents, and I think back in the day when things were just a minute, a little more frothy.
Somebody asked if you used to study by candlelight.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got a couple zingers in the chat room. That's true. If you haven't joined our chat room, every day from 3 to 4, we have a live chat going on. A lot of the same people show up every day. Everyone's got something to say, and sometimes if you're lucky, we'll take a look at one of the stocks that you want us to check out. And we're also live on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and possibly LinkedIn soon. Is LinkedIn a platform you guys use? We're looking into it, so Stay tuned. Stay tuned. It's in the works.
So here's a 1-year chart of Juju, and the gentleman was on the show, and they're going to do all this. But when things are heady, as in, before we got legal, this space was hotter than a firecracker. But look at this. This thing is now slowly grinding down. Let's just put up a little. Look at this. So it's not a severe sloping line to the downside, but it's grinding lower. The trend is your friend. I mean, how much lower can it go? Well, you can actually half a cent. Or it can go no bid offered half a cent. I'm not saying it's going to happen. All they got to do is start doing some things that are fundamentally
sound. Yeah.
And people will buy the stock.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I don't own it. I know we used to talk about it a lot. So again,
well, hopefully they have some good news, so we'll be talking about it again.
I'm going to take a look at Africa here today.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Africa. They got a lot of money too, don't they?
Well, it's one of the it's I gotta put my just a minute.
Scott's saying FSD gets no love either.
Yeah, some of these smaller names, I mean, it's about revenue.
Yeah.
Like if you keep spending money every month, which you have to do if you have a business.
The well will run dry.
The well run, listen, and then every time you have to go back to the market, people will look at you like, what are you doing back here? I thought you were supposed to do this, this, and this.
Right.
And the party's over, so to speak. The punch bowl gets emptied, right?
Confidence is a tough thing to get back once you've lost it.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that has happened in the mining sector. You keep coming to the market for money to explore, you keep finding it, but people get tired of giving you money because unless you can produce gold or silver or copper or nickel.
It's the old fool me once, fool me twice.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, APHA.
APHA.
Here we go. So there's well, this actually, this chart looks. Yeah, Africa.
What does the chart look like?
Well, look at so
Did it change?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Afri's up.
Yeah, Afri's up, right?
Yeah.
Is that Afria? There we go. Okay. Well, look at it. It's still moving in this nice. We tried breaking down. It rallied and it's holding for the time being. Just a minute. What I always like to see is some indication of a basing, and then we've got it sort of there. We tried breaking down here, but it rallied back. Must have been some good news. Yeah, like it as long as it's holding. But if it starts breaking down, when it moving average line. Let's take a look at the moving average line. It's slowly deteriorating, slowly. It's hard to get. It's hard for me to get excited and say buy when every index we look at is showing some weakness.
Right. You want it to make a move to
I'm going to take a look at TruLeaf because yesterday had a really good day. I want to see if that's how's that's performing.
What happened yesterday?
Well, yesterday it had a big day. Yesterday it was up, 60, 70 cents. It looks like maybe even slightly more than that. So it was, today it's down a little. Yeah, it's a lot easier to be excited about these things if they're moving from the bottom left to the top right. Although this has sort of moved sideways. Anyway, earlier I spoke to Roger Rosmus and he thinks he may be sitting on a major discovery up in northeastern BC.
The Golden Triangle, right?
I'm not sure if he's right in the Golden Triangle, but he's certainly close to it. There's an area up there, and they drilled some holes and they pulled some very interesting looking rocks suggestive of a porphyry. Now, why that's significant, I'll tell you, is because 6 companies have signed confidentiality agreements, which mean, and he can't divulge any information.
Right.
But they could come on the property and look, and they're sort of precluded from not talking about it.
So they're doing their due diligence.
You're doing due diligence. If they've got a discovery, someone may want to do a pretty big joint venture with them. Anyway, let's hear what he had to say.
Yeah, let's check it out.
Joining me now, Roger Rasmus, CEO of Goliath Resources. Roger, I've known you for a number of years.
Yes.
Now, you earlier told me this is a new project. This isn't the Goliath of prior years. This is a brand new company, 2017.
Correct.
And you've been busy. You've been doing some drilling, and you've pulled some good holes.
Well, we've certainly have pulled some good holes. We don't know what the assay is going to say for us, but just some history behind that, leading up to it, is back in 2017, we did some silt samples in Lorne Creek, which is the most...
And the property is in
northwestern British Columbia, just north of Terrace, BC.
And so there's lots of deposits all over the place in BC.
Yeah, there is. It's primarily sitting in a porphyry belt of copper and molybdenum. What's unique about this situation that we have is we discovered this huge alteration system outcropping at surface.
Outcropping at surface? No overburden?
No overburden, no till, no anything. Like basically the porphyry center is sitting daylighting for us. So in 2018, we did the follow-up from the silt samples, and lo and behold, we found this beautiful porphyry system outcropping at surface. We took about 62 samples, bedrock samples from the porphyry center and the mineralized stockwork.
Right.
And all of those grab samples or bedrock samples, they all ran either with gold, copper, moly, or silver.
All of them?
All of them, yes. The highs were actually gold up to 2.95 grams per ton gold.
Almost 3 grams gold.
Almost 3 grams gold, 133 grams silver.
Which is 4 ounces.
So thereabouts, plus or minus, yes.
Yeah.
And then 0.34% moly.
And what about copper?
Well, copper, 4.5%.
4.5%, which is high grade.
It's high grade.
Very high grade.
This is up to, and obviously we don't expect our holes to be coming back with these types of numbers. As you know, porphyries are typically massive. Large, big systems, which we've actually...
maybe characterized sometimes by lower grades?
Lower grade, exactly. So that's why the seniors do like porphyry deposits. They're not chasing narrow vein mining, and you can delineate tonnage fairly quickly and on a very efficient type of a drill program. And then actually speaking of the majors, we've got a number of NDAs, confidential agreements signed off with a half a dozen of the world's largest mining companies. Yeah, we do. And actually 4 have been on site, so they're very excited as to what our team has been up to.
Just curious here, I'm a curious guy. How do you determine the angle that you're going to drill? How does that, like, for instance, like you've drilled 3 holes,
yes,
and they were mineralized to depth.
Yes.
But how do you? I mean, was it just lucky? I mean, you could have drilled it incorrectly and missed it, right?
Correct. No, we got lucky. So, and when I say lucky, all 3 holes we drilled started in mineralization, ended in mineralization. All holes are open. There was a total of 1,741 meters drilled. The first hole was due north. We did 718 meters, and the other 2 holes were just over 500 meters. The reason for that was the drill itself had some limitations to it. So the cost of going from 500 to 700, that 200 meters was the same cost of going from 0 to 500 meters. So what we decided, we'd actually use that savings, time savings, cost savings, and do a fly a radiometric airborne, just to give us a really good idea of how big this system truly is. So
have you got the results from that?
Coming soon.
Okay.
Coming soon. We just signed a contract on that, I guess it was last week already. So we'll have that incorporated into our drill program for 2020.
So when do you, maybe you don't know the answer to this, but do you know when you're going to start drilling again? Do you sort of have an idea?
It'll be next year, early next year, sort of.
This is not an access that you have year-round to, is it?
You could, but it'd be awfully costly. But typically, the window in the Golden Triangle and surrounding area for all these companies are, you get in, you get set up sort of May, June, and then you're rolling up until maybe to the end of October, possibly, depending on the weather.
Right.
Because it's all about, you're using helicopters every day. So if the helicopter can't get up the hill, you're paying guys to be sitting around, whatever the team. So, the $5-6 grand a day.
There's a practical aspect to this, right? And you've got to manage.
Of course.
Because junior resource companies aren't flush with money.
Correct.
Or at least exploration companies. And okay, so you've drilled some holes. You're doing what do you call it? Airborne.
Yeah, airborne radiometrics.
Right. So get an idea of potentially the size, right?
Yes.
I mean, because you know where you drill, what it's going to look like. So
Sure.
they should be able to get an idea of how big this potentially is.
Yes.
And at that point, it gets really exciting.
Very, very much so. So the 2017 SkyTem we did, where we drilled, actually, you can see this huge system going to the top of the mountain where we drilled, and actually going down towards the creek as well.
Right.
And it's pretty exciting. So the 50 by 50 line meter will give us even a more definition as to, okay, where are we putting our drill holes for next year? But the idea is we'll drill this like Swiss cheese in 2020.
Now, just so the reviewers know, the ticker is GOT.
Correct.
Okay. And now you have about what? How many shares? About 120?
110 million.
110 million shares.
Yes.
You spread out a lot of shareholders?
Quite a few shareholders, yes. There is a concentration of roughly 50 million shares. Management team, we own roughly 20% of the company. And then there's some various strategic... Close friends and funds that high net worth individuals that have accumulated, up to 9.9% of the company. And on that note, we've traded... the viewers can take a look at our chart. Our volumes have been crazy the last little while here. The last 2 weeks, we've traded roughly 45 million shares.
And this is on the back of you coming out and saying you've got 3 mineralized holes all the way, right?
Correct.
This is so. What do you think? I mean, it's. I don't want to get you to speculate here, but if you've got these commodities in this porphyry system,
yes,
and the size is. Will one of these big companies step in and buy this? Is that the way it's going to work?
Well, I think maybe the viewers can look at maybe the deal that Newmont Gold Corp did with GT Gold earlier this year, May. They bought a 9.9% toehold with some additional possibilities to get direct interest in the project. So at the end of the day, in a perfect world, I'd like to retain at least sort of like a 40% interest in the project with a senior or
somebody that's got some deep pockets.
Sure.
and let them
sure.
take it over, but you get a free ride, so to speak.
Well, I doubt. Well, if we can negotiate a 40% free carry, obviously we would. But I'm sure we're going to have to put up a portion of that capital.
Now, are you looking for primarily a gold copper play here, or is this silver is obviously meaningful as well, and is the moly significant?
It's a nice element to have to sort of throw into when you're looking at what your rock is worth, and based on our silver numbers, we haven't really talked too much about the silver over the last, let's say, 10 months of marketing. I went back and actually went and looked at all the grabs, the bedrock samples we took, and again, high 133 grams silver.
Yeah.
Where we drilled, we've got that 2.95 grams gold.
These are rocks from the actual from the surface, correct?
Well, this one's from surface, so you can see chalcopyrite.
Oh, okay.
You can see the molybdenum. So through that process, we did confirm that our chalcopyrite is gold bearing at surface. So everything is looking the same. So logic would suggest, I'm not a geologist, but logic would suggest that any sort of chalco that we're seeing in the core, which we're seeing throughout, should be carrying mineralization. And obviously, nice porphyry textures here. I don't know if that can be, we can throw a picture up on that.
Right.
About 185 meters. This one is down at about 200 and 282 plus or minus.
Right.
Nice porphyry textures here. You can see the chalco, you can see the pyrite, pyrrhotite. And then this one here, again, very classic porphyry textures. Again, you can see the chalco and the pyrrhotite in here. Nice quartz veining. That's at 470 meters. So it seems as we drill deeper.
Does it seem to be the rocks look better?
Yeah, it gets more intense for sure. But all the holes widely disseminated, I'd say highly disseminated. disseminated throughout the core from
So this is
every 3 holes.
I mean, you never, like, what did the stock get to recently? About 13, 14 cents? Did it get that high?
We got to about 13 cents recently.
Last
year we did trade up to 32.5 cents. And it had been June, July, but I thought that was probably a little premature because our guys weren't even on the ground at that time. I think a lot of folks were excited that, hey, we found all this beautiful looking material at surface. And I think it got ahead of itself, and then ever since we just
Sure. No, it's been a tough. I mean, I've been around this game for a long time, and I don't know what's. I mean, I'm glad to see gold starting to get a bid.
Yes.
Silver jumped from about $4 in the last few months.
Yes.
$3-4, and I don't think copper can stay far behind.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed today, but this guy Draghi from the ECB, the European Union, whatever, they're going to start doing more quantitative easing, and so I don't know if that was the news that made gold shoot up this morning.
$25, I guess, right?
Yeah. It's volatile. It's crazy volatile.
Definitely.
Anything else you want to add?
I guess my pitch has always been we're one drill hole away to massive paradigm shift where investors could potentially see a 10 to 30 bagger return. Obviously at the peak when we announce our assays, which I believe are going to deliver the goods.
Yeah.
And if folks take a look at the 2017 chart of GT Gold, just prior to them announcing their hole with their assays, stock went from 20 cents to 276.
Wow.
And that would have been like a...
How many shares were in GT?
14 bagger. The market cap at the peak was just over $200 million. So for us, that would be roughly close to about a $2 share price.
Yeah.
And then another one in the same area code is Garibaldi GGI. Was trading around 10 cents.
Yeah.
They announced their results. That stock went from 10 to over $5 a share, which was about a 44 bagger, and I believe at the peak about a $500 million market cap. So for us, our current share capital share structure would be roughly a $4.75, $5 share price. We're trading at 10 cents. Market cap is $10 million.
If you pull some really good results here, you'll probably be in a good position to raise some money, right?
Oh yes, yeah. I believe we could be self-financeable because we do have a number of warrants outstanding.
Okay.
Which have forced conversion.
And where are they?
First set's at 20. There's about 11 million there, and then there's a small set at 22.
Sure.
And then there's a bigger set at 30. So if everything gets exercised, it brings in roughly $12.5 million into the till. So ultimately, self-financed, and we wouldn't have to go out to market. And that'd be the preferred strategy at this particular juncture.
Roger, thank you very much. We're going to leave it there. Hopefully, we're going to have you back here when these results come out.
For sure.
And we're going to have a party.
Coming soon to a theater near you.
So, got GOT. Got gold?
Got gold. Got silver. Got copper. Got molybdenum.
Got whatever you want.
Yeah, I got the chart up here. This is a 6-month chart. Let's take a look here. We get the control tower. GOT. There it is. And let's look at a 1 year. Now let's look at a 2 year.
Yeah.
Quickly, and so this is since they've been involved. Okay, this company was founded and funded in 2017. They just drilled the first holes. Okay, so we got a nice base here.
Ed, in Twitter here, someone's asking what Molly is. We chatted about this. Molly is a drug, but Molly's also
molybdenum. 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 A lot of people can't even say it. I can spell it.
But the industry calls it Molly. So there you go, Twitter.
Yeah. Molybdenum's used, I think, as a something you might put in steel to make it harder.
Okay.
Okay.
A steel hardener?
Yeah. I could tell a joke right now, but I'm not gonna. Is it only that
sometimes not telling the joke is funny?
Maybe it does makes other things harder. Anyway, I think I made my point. So we've got a basing period here for about a year, 6 months, and then they drilled these holes and they just on visuals and you know mineralized over that kind of length. That's big. If these results can come out and corroborate what he's talking about here, somebody's going to get involved in this and try to see how big this is, because this is a potential jewel box. Okay.
Well, you've been looking at gold for how many years?
I started looking at it closely, really closely, from about 1978.
Okay. So have you seen anything like this before?
Oh yeah.
And what does history tell us?
Well, things go up, things go down.
Yeah.
You know, like gold's fascinating because it's been around for 5,000 years, right? What other currency's been around for 5,000 years? Nothing. So it's got the test of time.
Well, there's a great case for gold. What do you think? You looked at the deposits. What's your thought?
The deposits of
the samples he had on the table.
Yeah,
there.
We can't say it's a deposit yet.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, but that's the idea, is to have enough there to say, hey, we got a economic deposit.
And he said,
looking at this, we broke out of a pattern on those holes. So now we're just, if there's confirmation, I expect the stock to really take off.
So that's what we're looking for.
We're waiting now. We're waiting.
And when's that news going to happen?
I think, and if you look at he said it in the interview, I think it's going to be early October.
Okay.
So we're 3 weeks away, 4 weeks away.
Well, maybe we'll have him on the show again.
Well, yeah. Well, you know, James and I sat down with him. James knows him from way back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's a good possibility.
Nice guy.
A good possibility. Yeah.
So what do we got?
I want to take a look at this S&P and see how it's closing.
Okay.
Just let me get rid of this. Okay.
Did you know we have an Instagram account? Hey, Ed?
I don't even know what Instagram is.
You're not on Instagram?
No. And I would be, but
I think our fans want you to have an Instagram account.
Okay.
Would you guys like that? Ed have his own Instagram account? Behind the scenes with Ed?
Behind the
Anyways,
scenes.
Midas Letter does have an Instagram account, so if you haven't checked that out, please do. And what do we have? We got Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And we're live every single day.
Yeah.
Weekday. Got that chart?
Yeah, well, you know, this is a very, very short-term chart. We're losing steam here going into the close. Okay? And it's very difficult to make these predictions on such small time frames, but yeah, you know, the candle it's starting to look like a bit of a doji candle, and a doji candle, when I see a doji candle after a move up, I get a little nervous, because doji means it's sort of an indecisive day.
Right.
So that's what we're starting to see now. Even though we're up, we've backed away from the highs quite a bit, and you know, I would have liked to see it close. You know, that doesn't mean the rally won't pick up steam again tomorrow or whatever, but little hesitation here late in the day, and gold gave it all back. It was up $25 this morning, and I think it's unched now on the day. Unched is unchanged, by the way, in case you're wondering.
I'm looking at that block in the top left, and it looks like Charlotte's Web, C-Web, is at 5.52% up on the day.
That's the big one. We'll look at that one as well. But I was just going to get the GLD space. I want to see how this is.
Yeah, I think people want you to have an Instagram account.
Okay, all right. I can probably work on that.
All you got to do is take photos.
Yeah,
it'll be real artsy.
Yeah. Photo, you know what the thing about, but just my personal opinion, right?
What's that?
Reality.
Let's hear it.
Reality is only in the moment you're in, and it's right now, and it's an always changing dynamic. There's not. Pictures are just a split second, right? And then what are they?
But you can do video too.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Instagram now has video. We're
Is that
live
right?
on Instagram right now.
Okay. So look at this gold here. Holy smokes. Anyway, it gave the gain gave it back, but I think it's a first foray back into a bullish move. I think we got to keep doing some work. Let's see how it happens. Let's look at CWeb finally. I think we're running out of time here.
Yeah, we got.
I'm going to look at CWeb.
Take a look at one more, and then we'll wrap up.
CWeb. There you go. 22.60, up $1.23. Now there you go, folks. This is also one of the companies that is considered. They've got some great product, and they did some great work with this poor little girl that had she was having epilepsy and many seizures a day, and the CBDs helped her dramatically. So there you go.
It's a good news story.
Anyway, nice to see you. Nice to end the discussion on an up note.
Okay. Thanks so much, Ed. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we'll see everyone tomorrow.
Thanks again. Thanks for tuning in.
Okay.